We're back. Welcome back, Augmented Ones. Just Storm here again. Back from a bit of time off, working on some personal stuff. Puppies, school, work, a whole bunch of fun stuff. Still working on a bit of it, but I think it's safe that I can jump back into the space and start working on some things with the community. I'm very interested to hear everyone's points of views on all of our ideas, in addition to some of the things that we can bring to e-commerce and esports eventually. So for now, we're going to be jumping into the Pokemon Go remote raid discussion. Honestly speaking, we knew it was going to happen. They've been hinting at it for a while, and it's probably been causing some issues that they haven't really discussed with us. Currently, we have a few main bullet points and two things that they haven't announced just yet. Now, they should have led with all of the positives and not just all of the negatives, because honestly speaking, it's going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth, which maybe this is exactly what they want, where they want people to offer up ideas for them, so that way they can take their pick of things and then work it into the system. To which is why we're here, to let Niantic know these are some of the ideas that I believe that the rural community and the casual players that have jobs and cannot afford to be playing for 3 to 5 hours a day, because 1, it's not safe out there. 2, the weather is not always the most forgiving, especially with climate change not being properly addressed. And for 3, ain't nobody got time for that. Gas is expensive, cars take a beating, and we try and flesh out our communities the best that we can. But there's still going to be some opportunities, being that we can only have Pokestops and gyms so close to each other before they don't even show up in Pokemon Go. You should address that, Niantic. We love you. Anyway, into the changes that Niantic has announced. So, first up, remote raid passes are increasing, almost doubled. So they're going from 100 to 195. 3 packs will go from 250 to 525. So at the end of the day, when you buy 3 of them, you will still save some coin. And they will be having... So in addition to the coin changes, premium battle passes, premium raid passes, are going to have a 3-pack offered now for $250 for the 3-pack. When you're at a location in person, you will start to achieve more XL candy when you complete that raid. Whether it's XL rare candy or XL candy for that Pokemon, time will tell. But it will be interesting on which one they decide to give us for being there in person, considering that we've spent gas and other things. Now, there's a few things that probably are the mainstay that they haven't fully said. So when it comes down to it, the coin cost is probably due to server stability. The Las Vegas Safari Zone issues were probably brought on by server instability. They got a little arrogant and thought that everything would be perfectly fine. But then an extra 10,000 players showed up, or a lot of spoofers showed up, or the amount of traffic going to that raid, all those individual raids, meant that all those people popped into those gyms in those locations, put a lot of strain on the server, and they weren't ready for it. So they weren't just ready for that. Spoofers probably also have one of the main burdens as to why Niantic needs more coin to stop them, which is an extra reason why Niantic doesn't like remote raiding. As much as we would love to be home playing Pokemon Go and raiding at gyms and Pokestops and all that stuff, it's not going to happen, because you could easily say that, oh, I'm not spoofing, I'm remote raiding. This now allows for Niantic to simply check through all the streaming channels and see, okay, they're not actually at that location, they're spoofing, we can shut them down. with a high amount of raids going through a certain player, you're going to see that, okay, that's their 7th raid. While they're at home in the same location, are they actually out there, or are they live streaming from home? It's going to be an easy way for them to shut down spoofers that are simply benefiting from completing all of these. Spoofers are the issues. Don't support them if you have the option not to. And this makes it easier to pinpoint which ones are spoofing from home. Ideally, there can't be any raids. There can't be that many raids going on from home. And if you want to raid from home, there's plenty of games on the Switch that will allow you to raid Pokemon to your full capacity. Scarlet and Violet just came out, Sword and Shield are there, and Sword and Shield have the raid dens, which, if you're looking for a shiny Pokemon, then you can simply do a raid den and possibly get the shiny Pokemon through there. Could have a mark, could have something else. So, if you're really trying to shiny hunt for legendary Pokemon, there's raids in Sword and Shield for that. If you're one of our long-term augmented ones, you're probably going to hear some of these ideas again, which isn't bad. I believe they're pretty good ideas. I came up with them, so it happens. So first up, egg raid timers. They need to be shorter if you want people to be out and about playing holistically and raiding in person, because most players these days only have an hour or two to play before everyone at home starts getting angry and not really much of a choice from there. Days get shorter, nights get longer, not much opportunities to be out raiding, especially if you have a day job. So the raid timers should be shorter. I would say maybe 30 minutes. Typically, a raid egg will pop up on a gym after you take it down a few times. If there's other players in that area that are playing on those gyms, then yes, a raid egg will pop up there. But in our experience, they typically pop up after people have been interacting with them and defeating them, flipping them, all that fun stuff, all that jazz. So decreasing the timers allows for players to hang around and interact with that gym. Now, for idea number 2 is Team Zealots. So, not literally like Team Zealots, but the team that has the gym has their form of Team Rocket that jumps in there, hangs out, and they're trying to take the raid egg for themselves. Players that are waiting on that egg to hatch can hang around and defeat the Team Zealots. That way, they can actually interact with the gym, increase the defense, increase different things. They can get extra Stardust, extra candy, and those Team Zealots could have the Pokemon that are the counters for the raid, or Pokemon that are of the same species, to then allow for the players to jump in there. For certain Pokemon, say it was a Mega Charizard, those Team Zealots would have a Charmander down there. You defeat the Team Zealots, you get a few extra Charmanders that could have better IVs, or they could have that extra IV spread because they don't have the minimum of 10 IVs. So the PvP players could be there to support the raiders and help defeat the Team Zealots, plus they can get their PvP Pokemon, or extra candy if they need an evolution, or all these extra little bonuses. Still niche and enjoyable. Campfire. No. So for the next idea, Campfire needs to be rolled out for this summer. It needs to be out for all Pokemon Go players. That way you can quickly coordinate with players and see who is actually playing in an area, or you could light a flare and ask for help. With the upcoming generations for Pokemon, there's only 2 generations left. There's limited Pokemon with that, which means the game is naturally going to die off if the Pokemon players are only filling their Pokédex. If they're just filling their Pokédex, then I don't foresee much of a life for Pokemon Go to continue. Which means you need to build out the community and make sure they are fully functioning and ready to help and support each other, because it's what's helped survive. It's what the community is what has given Pokemon Go the life that it has. With the huge widespread playing that happened in the first year of Pokemon Go, players were able to go out, meet new players, and actually interact with them and create communities. These communities have helped players to continue on. They've created small little random things, they've created different things to help players adapt and adjust. They've also created different little contests for players to achieve while there is downtime. Now, my old groups, they used Slack, they used Discord, they used Facebook Messenger. Messenger wasn't very great. But Discord and Slack, you were able to set up different channels for different challenges, and that helped players survive during the downtimes. Right now, we don't got much of that because Campfire isn't available for everyone. It's close, but it needs to be for everyone. That way we can develop the communities and get support where needed. For instance, I was traveling to an event. I was early for that event, and it happened to be on the day that the Elite Raids happened. Now, me being in an area completely new, had no idea what was going on. I opened up Campfire, I took a look around, saw that there was a flare lit for a gym nearby for one of the Elite Raids. Let them know I was on my way, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I drove the 15 minutes to get there, and luckily I got there in time because players being impatient just started the raid as soon as it hatched. All I needed was 30 seconds, but luckily I was able to get there in time because people suck. It's how it goes. I know not to join up with that group again, but it could have been some outliers that are there. With a wider spread for Campfire, it allows us to report and kick out the people that do not want to help out the rest of the teams, or to take the time to re-educate those people that having a little patience is a virtue. Also with that situation, if I had gone the normal route of figuring out a gym's location and seeing that it was in such and such park, going to this park, I never would actually made it to that gym because a lot of parks have a lot of winding trails. They do have some side streets that you can get to, but without Campfire actually linking to Google Maps and getting me to that gym, I never would have made it at all. Because it was one of those parks, winding paths, lots of things going on in the middle, but then I needed to get over to that one spot. Wouldn't have made it. So going on with our usual augmental ideas. So another idea that they should be doing is when that raid Pokemon jumps out, you should be able to dump your berries into that raid Pokemon to possibly debuff it, but it's more or less just a dumping of berries. Because once that gym is taken over by the raid Pokemon, there's nothing you can do. You can defeat the raid, but once that is done, you can't bury any of the Pokemon that are in that gym for the next hour. So if you're not in that location, or if you don't have any Pokemon that are set up in another gym somewhere else, then you miss out on that chance to dump some berries somewhere. Plus, adding a debuff to the gym could help other players take it out, especially if you've already completed that gym, because you can only defeat a gym once. You can only defeat a raid Pokemon once. The next idea we have is auto battles. So basically, after that gym has hatched, say you're out of passes or you want to be there and support the other team, you can then throw in a Pokemon. That way they can help defeat the gym. That Pokemon, the same way that a nursery works, the same way that a raid Pokemon works, same way that defending works, you can then throw in a Pokemon, defeat the gym. You can then throw in a Pokemon to help defeat that Pokemon. It gives you battle points, maybe some Stardust, maybe just anything. But auto battles could be something that you can easily do to interact with raids while you're in person. After that raid is done and that raid has dissipated, your Pokemon then jumps back to you. No harm, no foul. I think these are some of the ideas that could greatly increase the gameplay while you're in person. These are things that are exclusive to being in person. And these are things that allow for players to still interact with gyms while there is a raid happening on there, but it doesn't require players to physically spend money on that gym. They can jump in, they dump their berries, they defeat the team zealots. All these little things help debuff that gym. That way, the players that are spending the money have an easier go with it, or it's just more enjoyable. So, if you enjoyed this and actually stayed for the whole time, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But anyway, I am Just Storm. This is Augmented Naturally. Thank you for joining us. We're going to end things here, but this is only at the end. At the end of everything, there is still a new beginning, and beginning soon is the future of Augmented Naturally. I'm going to do an entire video just for that, and we hope to see you all in the future. Remember, good balls, good calls, good luck. Catch you in the next.